नाथ मंदिर शिशारी गुरु बलदेव प्रभु की जय, सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, लॉर्ड जगन्नाथ की जय, लॉर्ड श्री पंच तत्वा की जय, श्री श्री गौरताई भगवान की जय, लॉर्ड परशुरामा की जय, लॉर्ड वामन देव की जय, श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। We'll say our prayers. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. नमो ओम विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so today we have two shlokas, 18.25 and 26. Anubandham shayam himsam anapeksha cha paurusham mohad arabhyate karma yattat tamasam uchyate. Translation: their action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. 18.26 Mukta Sango Anaham Vadi Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha Siddhi Asiddhyor Nirvikaraha Karta Satvika Uchyate. When, translation, one who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. Okay, so this chapter is the path of liberation, Moksha Yoga, 18th chapter, the last chapter. Here, Krishna is explaining the meaning of the renunciation and the effects of the modes of nature on human consciousness and activity. So, he has explained various things like Brahman realization, the glories of Bhagavad-gītā, and the ultimate conclusion of the Gita, the highest path of religion, which is absolute, unconditional, loving surrender unto Lord Krishna. And this will free one from all sins and bring one to complete enlightenment, enable one to return to Krishna's eternal spiritual abode. So this is like the last chapter. So here Lord is explaining the action in the mode of various modes. So here is in 2.5 he explained in the mode of ignorance and then in the mode of goodness. So this is how it is. So let's get into detail. So His Grace Sri Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he has explained this wonderfully as part of his Bhakti Shastri classes. So we'll just take that. Anubandham Shayam Himsam. Anubandham, that which causes bondage. All work performed for one's sense gratification, it actually causes bondage. And especially of all the work, if it is performed in the mode of ignorance, it especially causes the bondage. Kind of, it's in mode of ignorance. So it's like of all the three, this would be the most difficult. So just like addictions, we have seen it in movies, or you would have seen it in real life also, sometimes on the road. Just like addictions which viciously bind people and which are very difficult to break or let go of. Kshayam Himsam. Kshayam Himsam. Kshayam is destruction. Akshaya is opposite of Shaya. Kshayam. One which cannot be destroyed. So Akshay is one which cannot be destroyed. Shyam is which is destruction. So examples, Prabhu gives examples like terrorism, vandalism, all these are in mode of ignorance. Right? So we would have seen it in movies, or you would have seen it, on some occasions. So himsa is violence, shaya is more like with things, and himsa is more with related to with people. So it's like both things and people. So in mode of ignorance, one is either violent towards people or destructive towards things like objects and things you would see. So example, we have seen it in news how some people under the influence of alcohol or intoxication, they act violently, causing destruction and distress. Sometimes we hear of such incidents taking place during New Year's Eve. You would have seen it, it would have happened, or you would have read it, that would have happened on many occasions. Um, so anapeksha, chapaurusham, apeksha, with words have different meanings depending on the context of their usage. So Prabhu explains that in 12th chapter, anapeksha is about having the meaning which it indicates there is that a devotees who don't have any apeksha. But here, the meaning is not in terms of expectation, apeksha. It's usually considered to be expectations. Here, the context, depending on the context, it's in more in terms of considerations. So one is so reckless, one is so foolish that one doesn't think about consequences. This is one acting in the mode of ignorance. One acts recklessly, self-destructively, is not bothered, is not considered. Anapeksha paurusham. Paurusham here refers to harshness. In terms of speech, for example, the person is not sensitive, speaks very bad words, uses foul language, and speaks in insulting ways to others, as if it is something, what he's doing is very intelligent, a sign of cleverness. Sometimes this is what the people, this is their self-belief that, using or acting in such a way, it's like acting cleverly. So this is among some people who think or consider or act like this, a group of people. So like people imitate in a mocking way, somebody mocking someone, that that is how they wanted to prove that what is told is not correct. Instead of using constructive criticism, they use destructive criticism. And the same thing could have been done without mocking, but they use this destructive criticism. The goal in such act is to destroy the person's morale. So in some circle, among some group of people, it might be something to laugh about, or seen something about as acting cleverly. That is how strongly one can taunt others. And if he is able to do that, he is considered very clever. So this can be prevalent in some group of people, but this is not the best thing. This is not. Instead, one can use constructive criticism, give him feedback in a way, in a manner which one can accept, take, or digest. But we should understand that when somebody takes delight in hurting others um, by using words or whichever way, it is tamasic. It is in mode of ignorance. It is tamasic in nature. So here Prabhu explains that Srila Prabhupada translated Paurusham here as self-sanction, which means that thinking whatever one wants towards his life, he thinks I can do it, acting in such a way. Mohad Mohad Arabhyate Karma. Moha, illusion, is very common while describing the mode of ignorance. Prabhu mentions that in 18.7 also this was used. Moha tasya parityagas. When one does tyaga in moha, that is considered to be in mode of ignorance. So there are different types of sacrifices. There are different types of austerities. We have read it earlier. So tyaga in mode of illusion is considered um, is in mode of ignorance. So we have to consider that. So there is tyaga in mode of ignorance. There is tyaga in mode of passion. There is tyaga in mode of goodness. So any tyaga done in mode of ignorance is not worthwhile. It will have detrimental effect. So yat tat tamasam uchyate, that is tamasam, that is in mode of ignorance. So that is how it is. So here from 18.26 to 18.28, Lord Krishna is talking about three types of karta, the doers. Mukta sango anaham bhadi. Mukta sango, one is not attached to the fruits of one's activity, one is liberated from the attachment to the fruits. Naham bhadi, one doesn't imagine oneself to be the doer, one understands that if if one achieves success, or if success comes, it is because of multiple factors behind this success, and that person, he himself or she himself, is not the doer. So there are many multiple factors behind this success, achieving success. So for example, by this time, after having read Bhagavad-gītā, we understand that what we are doing, what we have done, performed in our previous life, the prarabdha, the, we have received this body and we are experiencing things, sometimes good and sometimes bad. Sometimes we find it distressful, sometimes we enjoy something. It is all because of our past karma. So it might be something you feel that you're achieving it now, you're doing it, but behind the scene, it's because something you have done good in your past life. Maybe you did some austerity, maybe you did some dana, some charity, things like that. You did some bhakti. So that is why you are able to achieve. So it could be something monetarily, or it could be something in position, or something, whatever opulence or any to whatever quantity or level of opulence you achieve, it would be because something you have done in your past life. So there are many factors behind the scene, and that you yourself are not the doer. Somebody has to sanction something, and would have done some good things. That is why you get the credit. That is why um, we say to the action there is a reaction. So there is cause and effect. Something you did in your past life, and then you are reaping the benefit of that in your present life. So plus there are many factors. There are Deva Netrana, there are Devi Devtas. And above all, it's all Lord Krishna who has to sanction things. So Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha means imbued, permeated with, filled with. And here Srila Prabhupada has translated, explained it as qualified with. Dhriti, which is determination, Utsaha, with great enthusiasm. So for a person to achieve long-term progress is enthusiasm and determination. In the mode of goodness, one has determination and enthusiasm, both. So sometimes people, they think that they have an opinion. They think that in goodness, life in mode of goodness is like slow motion and it's very boring life, very dull life. So example, people think that I should not speak fast, I should not run fast, I should not do activities fast. His Grace Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu explains that slowness is not a defining characteristic of defining goodness. So, so something very important to note, Prabhu explains, defining characteristic of mode of goodness is contemplation before performing any action. If you have the ability to act, if you have the ability to contemplate, think before you act in any situation, good or bad, and if you have this habit, then this is, the defining characteristic of mode of goodness. It is contemplation before action. So one thinks reason and then decides or deduces to act or perform any action or activity. That is action in mode of goodness. So in mode of passion, generally you will see that in mode of passion, what happens is after doing something, one thinks, oh, why did I do that? Such actions often lead one to regrets and lamentation after performing an action. So that is how mode of passion is. So this is a characteristic of defining characteristic of mode of goodness, contemplation before action, whereas in mode of passion, um, performing an action and then later if one regrets and laments, that is in mode of passion. So having said that, so if a person's contemplation is quick and clear, then a person can act fast also. It is not that the person in goodness has to necessarily work slowly or think slowly. So it is, it could be like that, you have so much of experience and you're so quick and you can act fast. It's the same kind of situation. So it could be your habit. So it's not that one acts slowly um, in mode of goodness, but you can think clearly, quickly, contemplate before performing an action. Could be something repetitive task like that. So both a person in goodness and passion can work fast. So this is what it means. Both a person in mode of goodness and mode of passion, they can work fast. But a person in passion is in bondage. The person in passion is in illusion, that is not contemplating, is not weighing consequences of action. He just foolishly or blatantly just acts without thinking or without contemplating. This is how the force of um, modes of three modes of material nature are. We have read it earlier. Um, People they get carried away by the force of the material nature, and because of their prarabdha, because of the body they have received, there are some things which they are going to experience in this life, both good and bad. And in a situation under the influence of a particular mode, they will be forced to act in such a way, such a manner. This is how the three modes of material nature are. You'll be forced to act. But bhakti is beyond all these three things. But in any given case, we should always endeavor to be at least be in mode of goodness, because mode of goodness is favorable for bhakti. But bhakti is even beyond this thing. It's shuddha, it's even pure, it's unalloyed. So that is unalloyed mode of goodness is shuddha sattva, is pure uncontaminated goodness. That is the real thing. But at least we should always, having learned, having read scriptures, having understood the gurus, acharyas, and senior practitioners of bhakti yoga, um, and seeing them as role model, we can understand. At least we should endeavor to be, at least do things which scriptures describe to be in mode of goodness, and that is beneficial. That is good for our progress. And this is again what Srila Prabhupada also tried to explain in this 18.26. So, such a person, whether so siddhi asiddhyor nirvikara. Vikara means change. Nirvikara means no change. So such a person, whether the person gets success or failure, there is no change. Karta satvika uchyate. Such a person is a satvik karta, or he is a karta in mode of goodness. So this is what Srila Prabhupada explained in the shloka also. A person who is in a Krishna conscious person is always transcendental to the material modes of nature. So a translation says the defining characteristic was that one who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. So Srila Prabhupada explains that a Krishna conscious person who's acting in mode of goodness, he's always transcendental to the modes of material nature. He's actually above three modes of material nature. He has no expectation for the result of the work entrusted to him. Because he's above false ego and pride. He is always enthusiastic till the completion of such good work. So till the completion of such work. He does not worry about the distress undertaken. He is always enthusiastic. He does not care for success or failure. He is equal in both distress and happiness. Such a worker is situated in the mode of goodness. So this would be like, generally we are acting in the mixed state. We are in the influence of all the three states. The more we are in the mode of goodness, the more we are in the mode of goodness, we will find these things to be true, what this purport explains. Um, Otherwise, all three modes are binding. The more we get close to unmixed state, that is solely mode of goodness, that is we will experience such thing, that we are always enthusiastic, we are not in distress. If we undertake such work, we are always enthusiastic till the completion of the work. Whether we get success or failure, it does not deter us, it does not demotivate us. And the person is always equal in distress and happiness. He is in state of equanimity. So that is a defining characteristic of a person who is in Krishna consciousness. He is always transcendental to the modes of material nature. um, and this is what we should endeavor for. At least be try to be in mode of goodness. If we undertake any work, um, we should try to be in mode of goodness. We should know what is goodness. We get it through the scriptures like Bhagavad-gītā, and then we perform action, and then we will feel that we are always enthusiastic. We are not deterred. We are not demotivated, because we know that we are performing this seva, this as a seva or service for Lord, for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. So then this is how it is. Otherwise, all three modes are binding. So in that case, one will be free from the false ego, because the falsity from the ego will be removed. It will be more purer. It will be more clear, because we are intention, because we are performing is Krishna consciousness. We are serving the Lord. We are doing activities for the pleasure of the Lord, and we are doing so. Krishna would accept things um, which are not contaminated, which are not impure, which are pure. So that is why we offer things which are in mode of goodness for the pleasure of the Lord, understanding this thing. Um, so that is how it is. And if you, I mean, that is why we offer pure things. We don't uh, offer things which are in mode of ignorance, like, which are tamasic in nature. We don't offer like non-veg or alcohol or onion, garlic stuff. Only the things which are mentioned in the scriptures, which acharyas tell, which our guru acharyas tell us to follow, or things which the scriptures mention, we offer that. And even Lord Krishna has said that he very simply he just accepts things like patram pushpam phalantoyam, as pure as simply a leaf, a flower, some water. Um, so he will very happily accept it. It's not that one has to get something very expensive. If you have, it is good if you are very well off and you are worthy, or you have capability to offer something very expensive, that is good. But otherwise, Lord will very simply accept uh, something which you have heard it, patram pushpam phalantoyam. He will simply accept a leaf, a tulsi leaf, or flower, or some water. All simple things he will accept. Not that you have to struggle very hard, but if you, whatever you do it for the pleasure of the Lord, you offer it and accept it. That is the great thing. That is part of bhakti. That is for the pleasure of the Lord. So thank you, Prabhuji, Mataji. Thanks for joining. Please join again tomorrow. And if you have any question, please ask before we log off. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Anandarupa Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Um, Thanks for joining.